The Battle of Mons was the first major action of the British Expeditionary Force in the First World War. It was a subsidiary action of the Battle of the Frontiers, in which the Allies clashed with Germany on the French borders. At Mons, the British Army attempted to hold the line of the Mons-Condé Canal against the advancing German First Army. Although the British fought well and inflicted disproportionate casualties on the numerically superior Germans, they were eventually forced to retreat due both to the greater strength of the Germans and the sudden retreat of the French Fifth Army, which exposed the British right flank. Though initially planned as a simple tactical withdrawal and executed in good order, the British retreat from Mons lasted for 2 weeks and took the BEF to the outskirts of Paris before it counter-attacked in concert with the French. At the Battle of the Marne. Background: Britain declared war on Germany on 4 August 1914, and on 9 August the BEF began embarking for France. Unlike continental European armies, the BEF in 1914 was exceedingly small. At the beginning of the war, the German and French armies numbered well over 1 million men each, divided into 8 and 5 field armies respectively. The BEF had c. 80,000 soldiers in 2 corps of entirely professional soldiers made up of long-service volunteer soldiers and reservists. The BEF was probably the best trained and most experienced of the European armies of 1914. British training emphasized rapid-fire marksmanship, and the average British soldier was able to hit a man-sized target 15 times a minute, at a range of 300 yards with his Lee Enfield rifle. This ability to generate a high volume of accurate rifle fire played an important role in the BEF's battles of 1914. The Battle of Mons took place as part of the Battle of the Frontiers, in which the advancing German armies clashed with the advancing Allied armies along the Franco-Belgian and Franco-German borders. The BEF was stationed on the left of the Allied line, which stretched from Alsace-Lorraine in the east to Mons and Charleroi in southern Belgium. The British position on the French flank meant that it stood in the path of the German First Army, the outermost wing of the massive right hook, intended by the Schlieffen Plan, to pursue the Allied armies after defeating them on the frontier and force them to abandon northern France and Belgium or risk destruction. The British reached Mons on the 22nd of August. On that day, the French Fifth Army, located on the right of the BEF, was heavily engaged with the German Second and Third Armies at the Battle of Charleroi. At the request of the Fifth Army commander, General Charles Lanrezac, the BEF commander, Field Marshal Sir John French, agreed to hold the line of the Condé-Mons-Charleroi Canal for 24 hours. To prevent the advancing German First Army from threatening the French left flank, the British thus spent the day digging in along the canal. Prelude: British defensive preparations at the Battle of Mons. The BEF had some 80,000 men, comprising the Cavalry Division, an independent cavalry brigade and 2 corps, each with 2 infantry divisions. First Corps was commanded by Sir Douglas Haig and was composed of the 1st and 2nd Divisions. Second Corps was commanded by Sir Horace Smith Dorrien and consisted of the 3rd and 5th Divisions. Each division had 18,073 men and 5,592 horses, in 3 brigades of 4 battalions. Each division had 24 Vickers machine guns, 2 per battalion, and 3 field artillery brigades with 54 18-pounder guns. 1 field howitzer brigade of 18 4.5-INCH howitzers and a heavy artillery battery of 4 60-pounder guns. The Second Corps, on the left of the British line, occupied defensive positions along the Mons-Condé Canal, while First Corps was positioned almost at a right angle away from the canal, along the Mons-Beaumont Road. First Corps was deployed in this manner to protect the right flank of the BEF, in case the French were forced to retreat from their position at Charleroi. First Corps did not line the canal, which meant that it was little involved the battle, and the German attack was faced mostly by Second Corps. The dominant geographical feature of the battlefield was a loop in the canal, jutting outwards from Mons towards the village of Nîmes. This loop formed a small salient which was difficult to defend and formed the focus of the battle. The first contact between the two armies occurred on the 21st of August, when a British bicycle reconnaissance team encountered a German unit near Oberg, and Private John Parr became the first British soldier to be killed in the war. The first substantial action occurred on the morning of the 22nd of August. At 6:30 a.m., the 4th Dragoon Guards laid an ambush for a patrol of German lancers outside the village of Casto, to the northeast of Mons. When the Germans spotted the trap and fell back, a troop of the dragoons, led by Captain Hornby, gave chase, followed by the rest of his squadron, all with drawn sabres. The retreating Germans led the British to a larger force of lancers, whom they promptly charged, and Captain Hornby became the first British soldier to kill an enemy in the Great War, fighting on horseback with sword against lance. After a further pursuit of a few miles, the Germans turned and fired upon the British cavalry, at which point the dragoons dismounted and opened fire. Drummer Edward Thomas is reputed to have fired the first shot of the war for the British Army, hitting a German trooper. German offensive preparations advancing towards the British was the German First Army, commanded by Alexander von Kluck. The First Army was composed of 4 active corps and 3 reserve corps, although only the active corps took part in the fighting at Mons. German corps had 2 divisions each, with attendant cavalry and artillery. The First Army had the greatest offensive power of the German armies, with a density of c. 18,000 men per 1 mile of front, or about 10 per 1 meter. Late on the 20th of August, General Karl von Bülow, the Second Army commander, who had tactical control over the First Army while north of the Sambre, held the view that an encounter with the British was unlikely and wished to concentrate on the French units reported between Charleroi and Namur. On the south bank of the Sambre, reconnaissance in the afternoon failed to reveal the strength or intentions of the French. The Second Army was ordered to reach a line from Binche, Fontaine-l'Évêque, and the Sambre next day to assist the Third Army across the Meuse by advancing south of the Sambre on the 23rd of August. The First Army was instructed to be ready to cover Brussels and Antwerp to the north and Maubeuge to the southwest. Kluck and the First Army staff expected to meet British troops, probably through Lille, which made a wheel to the south premature. Kluck wanted to advance to the southwest to maintain freedom of maneuver, and on the 21st of August, attempted to persuade Bülow to allow the First Army to continue its maneuver. Bülow refused and ordered the First Army to isolate Maubeuge and support the right flank of the Second Army by advancing to a line from Lessines to Soignies, while the 3 and 4th Reserve Corps remained in the north, to protect the rear of the army from Belgian operations southwards from Antwerp. On the 22nd of August, the 13th Division of the 7th Corps, on the right flank of the Second Army, encountered British cavalry north of Binche, as the rest of the army to the east began an attack over the Sambre River, against the French Fifth Army. By the evening the bulk of the First Army had reached a line from Silly to Thourécourt, Louvignies and Mignot. The 3 and 4th Reserve Corps had occupied Brussels and screened Antwerp. Reconnaissance by cavalry and aircraft indicated that the area to the west of the army was free of troops and that British troops were not concentrating around Kortrijk, Lille and Tournai, but were thought to be on the left flank of the Fifth Army, from Mons to Maubeuge. Earlier in the day, British cavalry had been reported at Casto, to the northeast of Mons. A British aeroplane had been seen at Louvain on the 20th of August, and on the afternoon of the 22nd of August, a British aircraft en route from Maubeuge was shot down by the 5th Division. More reports had reached the 9th Corps that columns were moving from Valenciennes to Mons, which made clear the British deployment, but were not passed on to the First Army headquarters. Kluck assumed that the subordination of the First Army to the Second Army had ended, since the passage of the Sambre had been forced, and wished to be certain to envelop the left flank of the enemy forces to the south, but was again overruled and ordered to advance south rather than southwest on the 23rd of August. Late on the 22nd of August, reports arrived that the British had occupied the Canal du Centre crossings from Nîmes to Ville-sur-Aisne, which revealed the location of British positions, except for the left flank. On the 23rd of August, the First Army began to advance northwest of Maubeuge, to a line from Base-Clés to Saint-Ghislain and Jemappes. The weather had turned cloudy and rainy, which grounded the First Army Flieger Abteilung all day, despite an improvement in the weather around noon. News that large numbers of troops had been arriving at Tournai by train were received and the advance was suspended, until the reports from Tournai could be checked. The 9th Corps divisions advanced in 4 columns against the Canal du Centre. From the north of Mons to Roulcan on the left flank met French troops at the canal, which was considered to be the junction of the British and French. The corps commander, General von Quost, had ordered an attack for 9:55 a.m. to seize the crossings, before the halt order was received. The 2 3rd Corps divisions were close to Saint-Ghislain and General Ewald von Locke ordered them to prepare to attack from Tertre to Glin. In the 4th Corps area, General Sixt von Arman ordered an attack on the canal crossings of Péruwelz and Blatin and ordered the 8th Division to reconnoitre from Tournai to Condé and to keep contact with the 2nd Cavalry Corps.